again, I'd like to say a special thanks to the BCS committee from our team and our whole Florida State family. Vizio and our hosts have been great providing us. This whole experience has been nothing but first class. From the day we got up, from the minute we got off the plane until right now, it's been a first class experience. And like I said, we don't get to experience this part of the country very often. And to be able to come from the South and come out here, this is one of the great games I used to watch as a child. Visioning myself being able to coach in that game one day, and it was a tremendous experience for us in our organization. You know, this has been a 4-year developmental process for our program, and every step has been important. We've learned from everything we've done. All the players who sacrificed and fought through helped prepare for yesterday and that opportunity. I talk about the Christian Ponders, the Rodney Hudsons, the E.J. Manuels, the Dustin Hopkins, the Nigel Bradhams, and so many more, Xavier Rhodes, Bjorn Warner. I mean, there's so many guys that they were all a part of what happened yesterday. And we can't thank enough for laying the foundation for our organization and our program. I'd like to thank Coach Bowden for his relationship in which I have with him. And like I say, that's one special man that I learned a lot from for many, many years. And my relationship with him, I hope, will stay strong. I'm glad he was able to be here and be a part of it, because he branded Florida State University to be able to do the things we're able to do right now. You know, the goal was to play our best game on Monday. And then you can hear me say something that may sound funny to you. I think we did. Because you never know, like I say, just like I thought our quarterback and our team and overall, again, we all played the best game because it wasn't necessarily our A game. We felt jitters. We felt guys wanting to win too much, become outcome-oriented, and just didn't do some things they did. Auburn did a great job of preparing and keeping great poise. But our kids, to me, it was the epitome of what we believe in our program. We never doubt. We play the next play. And the total focus of toughness, effort, discipline, and pride, finding crumbs, going higher, keep competing, not feeling sorry for yourself, not pouting. It's kind of how life is. And to me, it epitomized what our football program is about. And to me, it was our greatest game because it didn't come easy. It was very hard. That was a great opponent and a great venue. And to do it on the stage in which we were able to do it on, to me, just solidifies what we're building in Tallahassee. And like I say, we weren't interested in being a great team. We're interested in being a great program. And we want to be around for a long time. We've got to continue. And I want to say a special thanks to our players, how fun they were to coach, how they were allowed us to coach them, our assistant coaches, how great a job those guys have done this year, meshing with 6 new guys to come in on this staff and be able to function and do the things they do. And for them keeping those players together during that game last night when things weren't going as well, and to keep the belief, that to me epitomizes, again, what we're about. And it shows the trust that we have in each other, that the players have in the coaches and the coaches have in the players and our whole organization. And I can't be more pleased and happy for those guys and those coaches for what they achieved last night, and very proud just to be a part of that. Questions, please.
Questions again. Let us get the mic to you. Start right here, Tony.
Jimbo, Tony Barnhart, CBSSports.com. You touched on this last night in the post game, but as you sort of look ahead, ACC football looks pretty bright moving forward. You won 2 BCS games. Certainly had some very competitive games like Duke against Texas A&M. Louisville comes on board. Notre Dame's in there as a limited partner. If you could talk a minute about the future of ACC football.
I can say I've been in both leagues. I mean, the ACC is an unbelievable competitive league. Great players, the second most NFL players of any conference in the country, top to bottom. Great coaches, great commissioner. We had 11 teams bowl eligible. Like I say, Clemson won a BCS. We won a BCS. Duke played tremendous. Other guys won games, had big wins. You know, it's a great group of coaches and players, and hopefully now to get a little more respect. And which I think it definitely deserves, because when you go through it from players and the number of NFL players, Pro Bowlers, the whole thing, we're right behind the SEC in everything we do. And it's a great league, and I'm very proud to be in it and happy to be in it.
Right here on the aisle.
Jimbo, Mike Rada, ABC Birmingham. Kind of a 3-part question here. Can you talk about your growth from the days when you were a quarterback at Samford to being the coach of a national champion, whether or not you heard from Terry Bowden since the time you won the national championship, and did you share any kind of private moment with Coach Saban other than what we saw on the set with ESPN?
Hopefully my growth, I was always a guy when I played, I wanted to know the whys. I wanted to understand the game. I was a film junkie as a player. I lived it, thought it, breathed it. It was what I wanted to be. And I always envisioned play as long as I can and then be a coach. I mean, that was the ultimate goal, to be a coach at a major college program and win a national championship. I mean, and you know, you have dreams like that, and hopefully they were able to come true, and hopefully they'll continue to come true in the future. But I was very blessed with the folks I was around as a college player to be exposed to doing things right. And like I say, I was around Coach Bowden a lot as a young guy, as a young player, and very blessed from that. No, I haven't heard from Terry since this game. And what was the third part?
Did you share any kind of private moment with Coach Saban?
Yeah, we did. Nick and I talked. Nick, to me, is a tremendous friend to me. He always has been. I've learned a lot from him. He's a great guy. I mean, he has a great heart. His wife, Terry, she's reached out to me. I talked to her this morning. They were happy. They were very influential in myself and Candy and how we go about our business as leaders of an organization. Nick and Terry do it first class. They're great people. And Nick and I talked about a couple old hillbillies from those coal mines that just come on and became football coaches. But we shared a few moments. Like I say, I have the utmost respect for Nick. I think he's a tremendous coach and a tremendous guy. And he and I will always stay close friends.
Right down here, Tom.
Hey, Jimbo. Tom D'Angelo, Palm Beach Post. Jimbo, you don't call a lot of gimmick plays, and I'm sure, too, the scores this year had a lot to do with that. But just talk about your philosophy with those and, when you need to use them, when they're good to use.
See, I don't believe you win championships with gimmicks. You can win a game. You can pull out a situation when you need them. But I believe blocking, tackling, lining up, playing base football is what wins championships. And guys that run a lot of gimmicks usually don't end up being champions because there's not enough substance to what you do. It takes too much time to practice them. And I believe in recruiting and doing those kind of things and being a fundamental organization and program. But we have them. We have as many tricks as anybody else. I just believe in using them when I think you have to change them. But they're momentum changers. And when you do it, they change the game and the outcomes. And we felt we had to go to that. We've had plenty. We got a bunch of fake punts and trick reverse passes and reverses. And we got all kind of stuff. I can draw them up with anybody. I got like Nick used to say in practice, I had a stick in my pocket and used to draw them up in the dirt. He used to get mad. But I just don't believe you win championships that way. I think you do it with great offense, great defense, great special teams, and the tricks are used to change momentum of the games and outcomes of games when you have to.
Dennis.
Dennis Dodd, CBSSports.com. Jimbo, was there a deep moment that you shared with Jameis after he started 6-15, or did you just know that he was going to turn it around?
No, we did. You don't ever know because you can say you know, but coach, people say that it's not true. You have to believe in the guy, and you have to talk him through it, and you have to coach him through that situation. And we had a moment we talked about. You have 3 quarters. We're still in this ball game. And like I told him, I've always believed he was a great player. I thought there was something special about him. I told him the great ones can put those quarters behind them, and when they have a chance to win the game at the end. I always talk about Michael Jordan all the time. He's going to be 5 for 20 last 5 minutes of the game, and then hit 7 shots in a row. I mean, how does a guy do that? I mean, I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan, but those great guys that have that something down, they can put that behind them and know that there's a moment in front of them and go on and play. The Montanas of the world, the Elways, the Marinos, those guys at Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, those guys that get the ball at the end. And I believed he had that, and I said, you got to go back to your fundamentals, find crumbs. And that's a term we use to, if the big play's there, take it. If it isn't, just dump it off. Use the people around you. Don't put the pressure upon yourself. And he went back to doing it, got himself in the rhythm. And I'm going to tell you, it's a lot easier as a coach to say that as it is for a player to go do that. To me, it was a tremendous growing point for him, and I think it's the best football game he's played all year.
Could you analyze the concept of a 20-year-old who next year is going to have 1 foot to the NFL defending a national championship? I can't remember that happening too much for a major college quarterback.
No, it hasn't, and hopefully I think it'll be another growing stage for him and all of us, and he'll learn from. And I think he'll handle it very well because I think the thing about Jameis, he's a team-oriented guy, and he's not worried about the NFL or anything else. And we don't necessarily know he's going to the NFL, do we?
Kirk.
Don't assume now. Be careful, Dennis. You know what assume stands for.
Over here, far left, Kirk.
Kirk Bowles-Smith, Austin American, Jimbo. Putting together a new staff like that, can you share any story or anecdote from spring or off season or the summer that was developing chemistry that you knew something was going to work like this and maybe build to this conclusion? People
are going to say I'm crazy, but I felt 2 weeks after I got him here and recruiting ended, I felt good. And then we were about 4 or 5 practices into spring ball. I felt unbelievably comfortable because I knew Jeremy, I knew Sal, I knew Charles Kelly, I hadn't been around Jay, but I knew Randy for many years. And the philosophies and beliefs and the things we had, I hadn't been around Brew as much, and I'd researched. But a lot of the philosophies of the main guys that we had in charge of everything were very similar to mine. And they come from very similar backgrounds, very similar beliefs, and it gelled. It was like it was a glove. It fit the first day because we jumped right in recruiting and we were able to save the class and be able to have a tremendous class. We went in the off season. They had been through the exact off season which we go through. I mean, they took the bull by the horns, jumped right in. And actually, it was easier. And that has nothing to do with our past coaches, Mark Stoops and those guys did a tremendous job. I mean, all those coaches we had are tremendous coaches, and they got great opportunities, and I'm extremely happy for them. But these guys come in and had been in this system and been in this philosophy before, and we had some conversations, and I mean, it fit from day one. And my hat's off to them. That's what I say. And to make and get the trust of our players that quickly, my hat's off to our assistant coaches.
Ralph.
Jimbo, a couple of things. How did you celebrate last night? I imagine you gave yourself a little time to enjoy it before you started getting on recruiting like your buddy Nick does. And the other part of it is there was some talk going around that you may have hurt yourself trying to keep up with Whitfield down the sidelines.
Actually, wasn't Whitfield I got hurt on. I did pull a hamstring. You know what it was? It was when Rashad Green caught the pass and got horse-collared, and it wasn't called badly, and I was running down yelling at the referee. I did pull a hamstring. I was actually running that one. I was hopping on that one. I was running on the other one. I did. It hurt. It wasn't on the Whitfield one. I was happy on that one. I was all right on that. It was on when they missed the horse collar call, which I thought was because that could have put us down. It was a major call in the game that I thought was a big moment. But we didn't have time to argue about it. But I was sprinting down there trying to get on to him. That's when I got hurt. But now we enjoyed it a little bit last night. I did mainly just come back and had family. Now we didn't leave the room, and my mom and my family, my brothers, my friends, and my wife and my kids, and just and some of that, we just hung out right there. And basically, I sat there and just sat in the chair and about half fell asleep, to be honest with you. Feel like you want to sleep for about a week after these seasons. But now we'll get it back and get tomorrow and give the staff a day or so, and then we'll get back on recruiting. We got to get going. It's time for another one.